It's October, so obviously I'm going to focus my attention on Space Marines. The main reason for this though is that after watching a video by Theo over at Slimehouse, I dug up my old miniatures from 1994 and thought it would be fun to try a classic then and now painting comparison. This time around I'm doing some prep work, starting with removing mold lines from the casting. A few hours later, it's time for priming. I first primed it with dark grey, assembled it, then hit it with a spray of white. The priming revealed a dent in the pauldron. Since I want this mini to look pretty smooth, I sand off the paint, apply Tamiya putty, let it cure, and then sand it smooth. Instead of re-priming the whole piece, I just go over the dented area and other high spots with white paint. I'm not a miniature painter, so this might not be the right way to do things, but I applied really watered down paint in about 5 or 6 layers. It comes out pretty smooth and keeps some of the contrast from the priming stage. Yellow on top of blue is a nightmare, so I do some touch-ups with white first. I didn't have the exact blue I needed, so I mixed it from what I had. I'm really sorry about the lack of focus in this part. I got really into the painting and didn't check the camera. So far I've spent around 2 days on the mini and I can start working on the base. I didn't really have a clear idea of what I wanted to make, so I found some interesting plastic bits from my bits box and cut off some parts I thought looked interesting. In the end, I didn't really use anything except this grate from an old printer. I positioned it diagonally to make it more interesting looking. Also, I glued on cork sheet to make some stairs going beyond the scene. My earth texture has really dried up. It shouldn't be like this, but instead of throwing it away, a little water makes it okay to use. Then sprinkle the still wet earth texture with tea, rocks and dried soil. To seal it all in place, I use a spray from Geek Gaming Scenics. While the glue dries, I found an old standard bearers pole in my box of minis and decided to make a banner, hoping it adds more vertical interest. I extended it with a brass pipe and used a larger brass pipe at the base so I can remove the banner if I want. I like the idea of the stairs extending off the edge, but it doesn't make sense without something at the end, so I cut it flush with the base. With the base construction done, I applied Tamiya's liquid surface primer on tricky surfaces like the plastic gear and brass tubes. This primer adds a subtle but nice texture too. Oh, and I added a skull, blending it into the ground with more tea, sand and soil. For some reason I didn't use the scenic spray this time. I went with watered down Mod Podge and a pipette instead. Just proof that there's more than one way to get the same result. With that done, I taped off the plinth sides and primed the base the same way as I primed the Space Marine. I start painting the base with wet blending, which gives the colors more natural transitions. Next I add detail by edge highlighting and darkening shadows and recesses with glazes. The rusty areas pop with a brighter orange, and dark brown washes add depth to some other spots. Wet blending and washes take time to dry, so in the meanwhile I work on the banner. I used a coffee filter for this, since it holds color well without breaking down. I used the same blue as the Mini, made stencils and dabbed white with a sponge. The Roman numerals 2 is for the second company and the arrow represents a tactical unit. I had to Google this, as I have no idea about Warhammer 40k lore. Please don't let me know if I made any mistakes. Now that I feel all the parts of the base are done, I bring them together with yet another wash. I mix brown and white acrylic paint, plaster and water, then apply the wash all over. The plan was that when dry the plaster and the white will make everything look more dusty. It worked okay, but it didn't look dusty enough for my taste, so I add more sand color with my airbrush. I added the same dust effect on the grass tufts and the lower parts of the Space Marine's legs, tying it all together. Finally, I stained the oak with lacquer, applied the original and pretty terrible decals to the Mini, and with that, it's done. thank you for watching to the end. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking, subscribing and all that. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do more Warhammer or not. Until next time, goodbye.